YouTube. I'm Chris Bowie. This is my complete Blu-ray collection for 2018. I've been watching Blu-ray videos for about 3 years now, and I've been collecting them myself. They're just pretty expensive, so it takes a while to get what I want. But I love movies, obviously, and yeah, I have my collection alphabetized, and then I have the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because that's my favorite. I have that separately, and also the Walt Disney Animated Classics are separate. And then I have pop figures and everything, but I hope that I can, start a channel and make it grow, so here it goes. My complete Blu-ray collection for 2018. Starting in alphabetical order, first off we have 12 Angry Men, the Criterion Collection. This movie is just a classic. I mean, it's amazing black and white film, and I love it. Then we have 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street. These are two of my favorite comedies of the past decade. They're just hilarious. I love Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. They have great chemistry. Next is American Sniper. This movie was honestly a little overrated, but I remember when the movie ended in my theater, it was dead silent, and it was just like, wow, that movie hit me. Next we have Apollo 13, Baby Driver, one of my favorite movies from last year. Edgar Wright directed this movie, and it was just so fast-paced and fun. I really enjoyed it. 1.21 gigawatts! Back to the Future trilogy. I feel like everyone does that impression, but I don't really care. I mean, these three movies are really good. The first one's obviously amazing. It's like a classic and all, but the next two, I mean, part two is fine, entertaining. Part 3 is really cheesy, but I love to sometimes watch them all back to back to back on a Sunday afternoon. Next, we have a phenomenal trilogy. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. I got this cool digibook. But yeah, that trilogy is the best superhero trilogy of all time, in my opinion. And it's just perfect. Christopher Nolan directed this trilogy to perfection. Christian Bale is my favorite Batman, and yeah. Next is The Big Sick, an underrated movie from last year that I feel it should have been nominated for Best Picture, but it's a good movie. The Bourne trilogy. These movies are awesome. I don't have Bourne Legacy with Jeremy Renner because that movie's not good at all, and I do not have Jason Bourne because that was just disappointing. But these three movies are really good action movies that I love. Ooh, The Breakfast Club, 1985 classic. Great high school movie, and I just love it. Next is Bullet, Steve McQueen, one of my favorite actors. I mean, this guy did everything back in the 60s, and it's sad that he passed away of cancer, but Bullet is the best car chase in movie history. Next is Casablanca. Here's looking at you, kid. I mean, I love this movie. It's a classic, Best Picture winner. Next is Creed, which I just saw Ant-Man and the Wasp recently, and the Creed 2 trailer, I got chills. I mean, I love this movie. The only thing I'm mad about, Stallone definitely got snubbed, and I'm still mad about that. Ooh, Richard Linklater classic, Dazed and Confused. I love this movie. Great high school movie. Deadpool. Deadpool, I mean, it's amazing. R-rated comic book movie. It's gritty, funny. Deadpool 2 is great as well. Next is Die Hard. I hadn't seen this movie for a long time until recently, but it is definitely one of the best action movies of all time. Bruce Willis in his prime before he started doing anything to get a paycheck. But yeah, I love Die Hard, it's amazing. And then I have Die Hard with a Vengeance. I don't have Die Hard 2 or 4 or 5. 5 doesn't exist to me, but I'm planning on getting those pretty soon. Samuel L. Jackson is really good in this movie. I love the relationship between Bruce Willis and him. Ooh. Oh, hi, great movie. The Disaster Artist. This was my favorite movie of last year. I love this movie. James Franco got snubbed of an Oscar nomination, and I'm still mad about it. But it's okay, because this movie is amazing, and I could watch it over and over. Django Unchained. Tarantino, probably my third favorite Tarantino, third or fourth favorite. But yeah, this movie is amazing. Great Western flick. Dunkirk. This movie is groundbreaking. I mean, people can complain all they want about it, but personally, this is probably top 5 Nolan films. I mean, it's not a character piece. It's about the war itself, and you really get put in the character's situation. And I just love this movie. It's intense and thrilling, and it's just great. And Tom Hardy. Can't go wrong with Tom Hardy. Next is Elf, holiday favorite of mine. Then E.T., I mean, classic Spielberg. I love this movie. Next up is an action franchise that is fine, but I enjoy watching them every now and then. That's the Fast and the Furious franchise. I'll go through them real quick. The first one is good. Second and third aren't very good. Neither is 4. Fast 5 is great because they brought The Rock in. 6 is fine. 7 is good right here. I don't have 8 yet, but I might pick that up on Black Friday if it goes on sale. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I mean, it's a great movie. Fight Club. I broke the first rule. Forrest Gump, top 10. I love that movie. Get Out, a movie that I feel should have won Best Picture last year at the Oscars. But yeah, this movie's amazing. Goodfellas. Hacksaw Ridge. The Hateful Eight. One of Tarantino's lesser films in my opinion, but it's still pretty good. Next I have the Hobbit trilogy, which I don't know if I'll ever watch again, but you know, I got them on Black Friday, so why not? Home Alone Steelbook. This is my favorite holiday movie. I love this movie. And then Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, which I enjoy just as much. I don't like the other Home Alone movies, though. Hoosiers. The Hunger Games Catching Fire. I had the first Hunger Games, but I lost it, and it's a long story, and yeah. I don't feel like rebuying it. I honestly might sell that one. Inception, this really cool steelbook. That's my second favorite Nolan film, I think. Ooh, the Indiana Jones Complete Adventures. These movies are my childhood. I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's probably my top 5 favorite movies of all time. The second one is great. It's a little darker, which I like. The third one is almost as good as Raiders of the Lost Ark. And the fourth one is not great, but it holds a special place in my heart because my dad took me to see it at the theater, and it was the first Indiana Jones movie I ever saw in theaters, so I mean, it's kind of nostalgic for me. Inglourious Bastards. Second favorite Tarantino film. I love that movie. Interstellar. Talk about a movie that blows your mind. I mean, this movie is long, extremely long, but it's just phenomenal what Nolan did. And I mean, McConaughey, that was a really, really good performance. Underrated in my opinion. Jaws. This movie is amazing. Steven Spielberg's almost maybe his best film. Raiders of the Lost Ark and this are like my 2 favorite. But yeah, I love this movie. I watch it every 4th of July because it's such a good summer movie. Jobs. Jurassic Park. I don't have the Jurassic Park 2 or 3. I don't really think they're good. And I got Jurassic World. I got it as a gift. I've never watched it on Blu-ray. And I didn't see Fallen Kingdom because I don't really care. But yeah. Next is the Karate Kid Steelbook. Love that movie, and it's a really nice steelbook. La La Land. My favorite movie of 2016. Just a great movie. Yeah, there's not much else to say about it, honestly. Lady Bird, a really, really good movie. It didn't get a lot of love from the Academy, but I think it should have. Logan, great ending to the character of Logan. I mean, Hugh Jackman is the Wolverine, and he always will be, and this movie is just a great way for him to go out. Great send-off. Lone Survivor. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. Extremely long movies, but they're nice to watch like every few years. Oops. The Magnificent Seven, the original with Steve McQueen. I love this movie. I watched it all the time with my dad growing up. And then the Magnificent Seven remake, which I still think is a pretty good action movie. Man of Steel, it's fine. The Martian, really good movie I haven't seen in a while, but I remember liking it a lot when I first watched it. Miracle, this is one of my second favorite sports movie, I think. This movie is just American. I get chills at the end. I love it. I love Miracle. The Mission Impossible 5 movie collection. My favorite one is Ghost Protocol, then probably Rogue Nation, then 1, then 3, then 2, but all these movies are fun action movies, and I'm excited for Fallout that comes out in a couple weeks. No Country for Old Men. This movie is amazing. Like, there's nothing I can say about this. It's a perfect film. The Patriot. The Polar Express Steelbook. Ooh, the Planet of the Apes trilogy. These movies are phenomenal. This is one of the best trilogies in recent years. My favorite is definitely War, then Dawn, then Rise. But all three of these movies, you know, each stand alone and they have something great about them. And the character of Caesar is just amazing. Pulp Fiction. There's really nothing I can say about this movie. It's perfect. Next is a guilty pleasure of mine, Red Dawn, the remake. This movie's really bad and cheesy, but I saw it when I was like 11 or 12, and I enjoyed it. My favorite sports movie of all time, Remember the Titans. I love this movie. I just love it. It's a phenomenal sports movie. Reservoir Dogs, my second or first favorite Tarantino. This and Pulp Fiction are both classics, and it's hard for me. I struggle with deciding which one I like more. The Revenant, a really long movie, but it got Leo an Oscar, so I was happy about that. Ooh, Rocky, the 6-film collection. The first Rocky movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. I have the poster in my room, and I just grew up watching it all the time. I still watch it. It motivates me so much, and each one kind of gets a little worse and more cheesy, but I love them all. Singing in the Rain. This movie is just a great musical, and it makes you feel good when you watch it. Skyfall, a great Bond movie. The Social Network, David Fincher film that's great. The score in this movie is like awesome, and it's just like seeing how Mark Zuckerberg made Facebook. It's just a really interesting movie. The Sound of Music, great musical. Spectre, underwhelming Bond film, but still, I enjoyed it. The Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. This is a pretty good trilogy. The first two are really solid, and then the third one is just not great. Like, too many villains, way too much going on, but I love to watch these movies, you know, probably once a year. Star Trek Into Darkness, and Star Trek Beyond. All three are fun movies. Definitely my favorite Star Trek movies, as opposed to the originals, but I love them. Ooh, next we have Star Wars: The Complete Saga, and Star Wars: The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. Star Wars as a franchise is probably my favorite of all time. The original trilogy is without a doubt my favorite trilogy of all time. I love those movies. And then the prequels, I mean, I was young when I watched them, and they're not good movies at all, but there's some aspects about them that I do like. The Force Awakens is amazing. I love it. The Last Jedi is fine. It was really kiddie, and I didn't like some of the decisions that were made. And then Rogue One is not very good, but, you know, I love Star Wars, so I gotta have them all. And Solo was fine, too. I'm really not a fan of the anthology films. Anyways, Step Brothers, hilarious comedy. Superbad. I love Superbad. McLovin. Training Day. West Side Story. Whiplash. This is probably also in my top 10 favorite movies. Damien Chazelle is an amazing director. Directed La La Land and this. Both movies are amazing, and I'm excited for First Man to see, you know, if that does anything at the Oscars. The Wizard of Oz. Wonder Woman. And X-Men, the new trilogy with First Class, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse. You know, the first two are really good. Apocalypse is fine. I don't have any of the other X-Men movies. I need to get them. But yeah, that concludes the alphabetical portion, and then I'm going to move into my MCU and Walt Disney animated classics. Now moving into my Walt Disney animated classic films, I have them in chronological order of release date, and I love everything about Disney, Disney World, I mean, Splash Mountain, my favorite ride at Disney, and the movies are all, you know, just, they make you feel like you're 8 years old again, and I love them. So starting with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, classic. Pinocchio, I love Pinocchio. Bambi, probably the saddest Disney movie, or of the like classic ones. Peter Pan, You Can Fly, You Can Fly. I mean, this movie makes you feel like a kid again. I love it. Probably my second favorite of the originals, The Jungle Book. I love this movie. I watched it over and over on VHS at my grandpa's house when I was younger. Then the live-action remake of The Jungle Book, which I enjoy a lot. I'm interested to see what they do with that Mowgli movie later this year. Beauty and the Beast, Tale as Old as Time. It's just classic. The steelbook of the newer Beauty and the Beast, which I enjoy a lot. Aladdin, just Robin Williams as the genie is amazing. This movie is great. My favorite animated film of all time, Disney and non-Disney, just in general, The Lion King, just a masterpiece. The sequel to The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, I got this, it was my first Blu-ray I ever got, and I was 11, I think. But, yeah, I enjoy it. It's definitely, you can tell it's like direct to DVD, but I still enjoy it. Next is Tangled, which I really enjoy. Moana, the colors on this Blu-ray are amazing. The water looks really, really good. So that's it for the Disney movies, but moving into Disney Pixar is Toy Story, which is definitely, the Toy Story trilogy is just amazing, and it's probably the best of Pixar in my opinion. I mean, The Incredibles is good too, but Toy Story 2, which is great. Finding Nemo, great. Toy Story 3, my favorite Pixar movie. Inside Out, I relate to anger, because I can get angry with people sometimes, but what can you say? Finding Dory, I like the slipcover on this. You can like see the water in the light, but this movie's fine. I do enjoy watching it every now and then. The newest Pixar movie besides Incredibles 2, Coco, this movie almost made me bawl. It was just so emotionally intense at the end. It was overwhelming, but the story was great, and I really love this movie. So now that I'm done with my Walt Disney animated classics, I'm moving into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or the MCU, which is my favorite franchise. I mean, Star Wars, I love it to death, but consistently Marvel has made entertaining films that I find enjoyment with, and there's a unique take that every film has, and I just love these movies. So they're in chronological order as well. So starting with Iron Man from 2008, this is my fourth favorite MCU film. Robert Downey Jr. plays the role of Tony Stark perfectly, and this movie just shocked the world, I think, you know. It was like Marvel's here, and 10 years later, they're still going strong. The Incredible Hulk with this really cool slipcover. This movie is one of my least favorite Marvel movies, but it's still, there's enjoyment to it. Iron Man 2, which is messy, but, you know, I just love seeing Robert Downey Jr. play Iron Man, and so I'll watch that every now and then, and I'll find enjoyment in it. Thor, it's really cool that they actually, you know, made Thor. Who would have thought they would ever make a movie that takes place almost completely outside of Earth, and it's just like, the visuals in this film are great, and Chris Hemsworth as Thor is amazing. I mean, all the Chris's are pretty cool in the Marvel universe. Captain America: The First Avenger, another movie that kind of shocked me. I saw it in theaters. I didn't think that it was going to be good, but it was really entertaining, and I enjoy how they connected it to modern time, like how at the end, you know, it's like 70 years. That's crazy to think about, you know. Next is The Avengers, my second favorite MCU movie. This movie is just, it's groundbreaking. I mean, who would have ever thought that we would see all these characters on screen at the same time, and it's just so much fun. I could watch it over and over. Next is Iron Man 3, you know, to start phase 2. And this is the most disappointed I've ever been in an MCU movie, because I had so many high hopes going into it, and I thought the Mandarin was going to be an amazing villain, Ben Kingsley, and then the twist was just dumb and goofy, and it really disappointed me. And I've rewatched this a couple times since then, but I don't know, it just doesn't stick with me. Next is my least favorite MCU movie, Thor: The Dark World. Boring. That's one word to describe it. Just boring and almost unnecessary. Next is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Top 10 in the MCU for sure. This movie is thrilling, and you don't know what's going to happen. I liked that it was like a spy movie, and it was really entertaining. Guardians of the Galaxy. This is probably the biggest risk Marvel took because no one knew that it would succeed the way it did. And I mean, everyone loves the Guardians of the Galaxy. The soundtrack is amazing. It's just funny, and it's a feel-good space movie, and I just love it. Then we have Avengers: Age of Ultron. Everyone says this movie's horrible, but it's enjoyable. There are a lot of poorly written scenes and unnecessary aspects to the film, but I enjoy it. Next is Ant-Man, fun heist movie in the MCU. Paul Rudd, I love him. He's just a funny guy. Civil War is, I saw it twice the day it came out in theaters. I love this movie. It's my third favorite in the MCU. The introduction to Spider-Man was great. Black Panther's introduction was great. Just the tension between characters in this movie, I love it. I mean, who would have thought that I would be having to choose between two superheroes, and like, I just love Iron Man, I love Captain America, and seeing them go at it on screen is just crazy. Next is Doctor Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch plays the role perfectly, and it's really a fun movie. Next is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I don't enjoy this one as much as the first. The villain's weaker. Some of the comedy is dumb, but I really enjoy all the Marvel movies, so gotta have it. Spider-Man: Homecoming, my favorite Spider-Man movie. Just Tom Holland's portrayal of the character of Spider-Man and Peter Parker is the most accurate to the comic books that we've seen, and I really enjoy this movie. I like the villain, the Vulture. He's probably my third favorite villain in the MCU. Everything about this movie, just the feel of it, the way it feels like he's actually a high school student for once, and it's just a really fun movie. Next is Thor: Ragnarok. This movie is great. Seeing Thor and Hulk fight on screen is awesome. Hela was a pretty good villain. It actually kickstarted the good Marvel villain phase with Hela, Killmonger, and Thanos. And this is one of the most just pure fun movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And lastly is Black Panther, which I think is a great movie and I find enjoyable. And then Infinity War, of course, is amazing, and that comes out in a couple weeks. But that concludes my Marvel Cinematic Universe collection. And lastly, I have a couple seasons of TV shows. I have Stranger Things, the season 1. It's like the VHS. Stranger Things season 1 is a 10 out of 10 for me. I really enjoy it. Season 2 is really good too. It's just I think it was episode 7 was just dumb to me, but it finished really strong. And then I have 2 seasons of Game of Thrones. I have season 1 and season 2. Game of Thrones is my favorite TV show, and I just got into it about a year ago, and then I, binge watched it and all, and I'm slowly trying to get all the seasons on Blu-ray. They're just expensive, so it'll take time, but I'll plan to rewatch them all on Blu-ray leading up to season 8 sometime next year. Okay, well, that's my entire Blu-ray collection as of now. I plan on collecting many more movies as the year goes on. I still need a lot more. I still need to watch many more movies. Sometimes I just feel overwhelmed, like I'm never going to catch up on all the classics that I haven't seen and all the current movies and TV shows. There's just a lot out there. But that's what I love about it, I love movies, and that's what I'm passionate about. And so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, comment down below, and subscribe if you want to. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.